So, our previous research had shown that the start of a new medicine was a particularly problematic time for patients with issues with non-adherence and very high levels of medicine-related problems and concerns. Therefore, it seemed a potentially useful time to intervene to provide better support to patients with their medicines. As a result, we developed and evaluated a new way for pharmacists to support patients at this time. And two key elements of our intervention were firstly that it was patient-centred, so the pharmacy started with understanding patients' unique needs, their adherence issues, medicine-related problems and concerns, and then tailored advice and information accordingly. Secondly, it was based on an awareness that non-adherence can be both unintentional and intentional. So unintentional non-adherence is what we're perhaps more familiar with, so forgetting to take a dose, forgetting several doses. And intentional non-adherence is where patients make an active choice to not take their medicine as prescribed, maybe related to their beliefs about their medicine or their illness, their lifestyle or side effects. We conducted a randomised controlled trial with 500 patients who were recruited across England. And we wanted to see whether the intervention could improve adherence and reduce medicine-related problems and concerns. The intervention was delivered at 2 weeks after patients picked up a prescription for a new medicine, and we conducted the follow-up at 4 weeks. The results showed that patients in the intervention group reported significantly less non-adherence and fewer medicine-related problems or concerns compared to the control group patients. Experts reviewed the advice that pharmacists gave and found this to be safe and effective. Patients themselves found the intervention to be useful and reassuring, and the economic evaluation showed that the new service was cost effective compared to usual care. So as pharmacists get closer to delivering this new service in practice, we thought it'd be useful to share some examples that our pharmacists dealt with and how it was successful. So one particular case that sticks in my mind is of the patient who had recently had a heart bypass, was on a lot of different cardiovascular medications, and when the pharmacist called to deliver the service, she found that he had stopped taking all of his medications, not just the new one. So she probed and asked questions to really try and understand why this had happened. And what came to light was that this patient had had a very bad experience with some previous medical care, which had led to a distrust of advice he'd been given since about his medicines. So the pharmacist really just listened to his story and asked questions, reassured, and also focused on explaining what the medicines were for and really how they helped his condition. When I telephoned the patient at follow-up, it was clear he was very satisfied with the new service, and he talked about it being the right information at the right time. He said he lived alone, so it was very difficult for him to really talk to anybody else about his medication. So having that timely phone call from the pharmacist was really useful to him. We had lots of other examples, patients, for example, who had asthma on preventer inhalers, who didn't like taking it because they were going out drinking, were in a rush to go to work in the morning. The pharmacist offered practical advice about taking the medication before they went out drinking or keeping it in a handbag so that it could be taken at the right time. And what was clear from all of the examples that pharmacists uncovered was that the pharmacist can really make a big difference in supporting patients with the problems that they have at this crucial time of starting a new medication. And the pharmacists in our study really enjoyed delivering this intervention, and we hope pharmacists in practice do too.